Toronto Maple Leafs just shocked everybody after falling down 3-0 against one of the best teams in the NHL over the past few weeks. The Leafs show something we haven't seen from a Leafs team in years. They come back, they score 7 unanswered goals, and this was one of the craziest games, not only of the year, probably the craziest game of the year, but that we've seen in a very long time. We saw some incredible saves from Joseph Woll. Darius is also here. He is from his phone, so shout out to him for being able to make it. But, I mean, it got to be seven unanswered goals against a Montreal Canadiens team coming into this hasn't lost in a very long time. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10. They are absolutely rolling. They dominated the Leafs for the first 10 minutes, and then right after that, it was all Toronto Maple Leafs. And the way that they fought tonight, as Eric comes in with the $13.99. Eric, thank you so much. Showing love early. Let's go Leafs. Let's go Leafs is right. I mean, quite frankly, it was a huge win. And for them to show this is, I'm just over the moon.
I think this is, again, I said it last stream, this is closer to the team they actually are than what we saw on that 3-game losing streak, honestly. That's honestly what I believe. And I think that's a great sign. Montreal, we mentioned in the video this morning.
Hold on. Johnny with the 5 gifted membership. Johnny, thank you so much. Star, Matt, Jolene, Joseph, and Jason. If you got a gifted membership from Johnny, thank you so much. Your guys, this is peak Maple Leafs right now. Last win was insane. This win was even crazier. Robertson played great. Austin, I'm going to let you continue. Austin Matthews with an insane goal. We'll get to Collins here shortly. Johnny, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I think that might be your first time or one of your first times gifting. So thank you so much for that, Johnny. If it was your first or one of your first times, thank you so much. You said you guys are amazing. Shout out to Johnny in the chat. Darius, continue your thoughts. I've never been, this is the most fired up I've been probably all year for a Maple Leafs win.
All year. This is the most fired up I've seen you all year. So this was a great win. And shout out Johnny again for the donation. Fantastic. Thank you. And again, I was saying it this morning, like Montreal, I think has lost 2 games in the last calendar month, right? Like this is a hot team. They were playing great. They came out of the gate hot. I thought this was going to be a game where the Leafs might fold and, not do their thing. And that was not the case. The second period is notoriously the Leafs' best period. They played great. And then they continued that into the third period. And like you mentioned, the 2 guys that really, stood out tonight, Nick Robertson had a great game. Austin Matthews, obviously, with a great shot. But, Joseph Woll, like I think this was a matter of this game really boiled down to, I think one goaltender was better than the other, right? Because Joseph Woll made some big saves. It could have been a different game. He really kept them in this game. And OEL was the best skater tonight. Honestly, I think he was not only the best defenseman for the Leafs, the best skater. All the looks he had, fantastic. The way he was finding guys for those high slot tips, fantastic. So he was really great tonight too. And again, Chris Tanev and McCabe, what a difference that pairing makes. Unbelievable.
Yeah, let's go into the box score a little bit here. And people are saying, Johnny, anytime first time, but long time listener. Thank you, Johnny, for your support. And it means a lot. I mean, Joseph Woll, 33 saves, but like it was one of the best performances I've seen from a goalie all year. The amount of high danger chances that he saved from start to finish, he looked like he was, I don't know if I've ever seen a goalie stretch as much in a game as Joseph Woll did down to the very end as Nick comes in. Jim is Eric. As Nick comes in with the 5 gifted, the vibes are high. Thank you so much, Nick, for the 5 gifted memberships. Johnny, wow, that is insane. Johnny, who just gifted 5, got one back from Nick. That luck is insane. Cesar as well. Gregory Seaborn. A lot of people I recognize in here. Johnny, you just got one. Gregory, Kevin, Josh, Cesar. The vibes are great right now. They just gave Johnny his Gregory as well. Oh, everything is coming. Thank you so much, Nick, for that. What's up, Jose? Okay. They obviously come into the game. They change Chris Tanev and OEL. They do all these things. OEL with an insane shot, very quick. They get the goal. The Leafs go down 3-0. We'll have to dissect this whole game, but like even Steven Lorentz got in. Gregory finally a member. Shout out to you, Gregory. If you guys are happy the Leafs won, smash that like button. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces. Thank you, Bob, as well. I mean, Darius, this is after 3 losses in a row. I don't know if you could have, like, the teams they've played, the Devils and the Canadiens, like obviously on the surface level, the Canadiens, not usually that great. They have been, and this was going to be one of the hardest games coming into this weekend, I guess. Prime time, hockey night in Canada. They go down 3-0. Everybody is upset. The team had no fight. and the Craig Berube effect. And I got to give credit to the players themselves. They come out and absolutely they put the foot on the gas. And I'm going to be completely honest. Montreal looked completely outmatched for about 45 minutes of this game. And it looks like they hadn't seen that in a very long time.
No, because they've been playing great hockey. I have to give credit where credit's due. The Montreal Canadiens have been playing great hockey, but Toronto Maple Leafs, after the first period, and I have to give credit to one more player that we haven't mentioned tonight, and that's Bobby McMahon. He dragged this team back into the fight. I noticed him the entire game. A lot of the players on the Leafs tonight, I noticed for 40 minutes. I noticed him for 60 minutes. I thought he played a great game, and he was trying to make a difference out there, and he dragged them back into the fight with his physicality, and then he scored that goal with Matthew Knies' stick, which I'm surprised he didn't end up sticking with that stick just because of how superstitious they all are. But again, I thought he had a great game. I have to give credit to Bobby McMahon. Again, a lot of players had a great game tonight. They turned it on after the first period, but the Canadians had not much after the first period, but they still had some decent scoring chances, high danger scoring chances, and Woll was there to save the day. So great effort after the first period, I will say, as a collective unit. And again, you mentioned it, like the reason I was so upset, and I think things were looking so gloomy after last Saturday and heading into this week. I'll pause.
Jose with the $50 donation. Jose, for one, thank you so much. Two, everyone show some love to Jose and everybody who's been supporting. I mean, Jose said, what a great game. The best game I've seen from this. I mean, you could argue, I mean, we said this earlier. Is this the best? Type in the chat. Is this the best Leafs game they've played in the past, what? How many years do you want to go back? I don't know if they've played a better game in the past. I'm scared to say decade, but I'm sure there's been some games there. But type in the chat. Is this the best Leafs game you've seen in the past 5 years? Type yes or no. In the meantime, Jose, thank you so much. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. The vibes are great. I'm so happy. I don't even know how. I mean, honestly, watching that game as Mo comes in the building with 5 gifted memberships. Mo, first of all, thank you for the 5 gifted. Second of all, hopefully you're doing well. Glad you're tuning in. Hopefully this helped. You know, the Jays obviously horrible, but the Leafs are absolutely on fire right now. Mo, thank you so much. Tom, P-Man, Leo, Jordan, MBHA. Mo, thank you so much. Jose with the 50 again. Thank you for your 50. Incredible. Gotta be. People are saying yes. I think it got to be the best game I've seen in. I mean, I'd argue, unless I'm missing, because there's been a lot of games, maybe the past decade here.
It's hard to beat a playoff game. I will say that. So I don't know if it's the best game for me. I would have to think about it in the last 5
best
years.
regular season game, I guess we'll say.
Yeah,
maybe one of the Lightning games where they won the series, but
sure. But like, it's got to be close. And I mean, this is the game of the year for me easily so far this season, because not only is it against Montreal, and not only is it a great effort and you're scoring a bunch of goals and everyone looked great after the first period, not only is your goaltending looking great, but it is against the Montreal Canadiens, and the Montreal Canadiens are in a fight for a playoff spot, right? Like, you want to beat that team.
Saturday night.
This feels good. Yeah, that feels good in Montreal as well.
And that, man, it would have been nice. Go ahead.
You have to wonder too, like I was thinking about this at the end of the game. I was wondering if there was a fire drill at the Bell Center because all the fans left with 5 minutes left.
We had some of our own friends, some personal friends in the building, and right. It was an interesting one. I mean, you go down 3-0 and you're thinking, wow, this team needs to lock it in. They get one goal and you say, okay. You get another goal, and then things were starting to look up now because then they were at the point where they had really started to put pressure. You get the third one, and then from there, the floodgates completely open. But again, thank you, Mo, for your 5, Jose for your 50. Incredible. Everybody in here, shout out to each and every one of you. We are going to get some call-ins. I just got to get all my thoughts out first, because I'm going to be just eagerly waiting to butt in. I don't want to interrupt anybody who calls in. There's so much to dive into in this stream. We haven't even gotten to, William Nylander, great finish. Aiden with the 699. What did I miss? You missed the game of the year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'd argue the game of the year. If you were an objective hockey fan watching this game, you would love it. Toronto Walker, I think it says it cuts off. Toronto Walk, thank you for the 2. Great win for Toronto. Wall was amazing. We're going to get into Wall as well. I mean, OEL silenced all the haters, including me, saying OEL's been playing kind of bad this year. Not really a hater. Legends all around. What's up, Shane, as well? Nick is going to have fun with his brother. There's so much to go over. You can take over here now, and I'll make a comment in a minute.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you brought up OEL, the last thing I want to mention about OEL, because I spoke on a little bit earlier, amazing game, 3 points, obviously, right? OEL, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, his goal came on the power play. And I
Yep,
talked about
it
that
did.
this morning too. Put him on the power play. He shoots from the point, get more pucks to the net, and good things will happen. And that's exactly what happened. So also got to shout out Max Pacioretty for taking that puck right off the
Ear.
face,
I think it was ear, yeah.
something side of the head or something.
Skated
And he
off.
just skated off, didn't stay on the ice, continued the game. I thought that was crazy. So.
Someone said any fights. Very close at the end of the first, I believe it was, with Ryan Reeves and Arbor Jackeye. It didn't happen. The game was very physical, though. The refs were interesting tonight. I think ultimately they called a fine game. They did miss a couple, they missed a little Mitch Marner trip there at the end, but they also called a pretty bad penalty on Matthew Nyes. Now, there's a few things. Yeah, password, Wi-Fi, whatever you call them, didn't want to fight Reeves, Arbor Jackeye. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson, dominant game. Jake McCabe, still very, very good. But I'm like, for a game as crazy as this one, obviously I think the 3 stars is going to be electric as well here.
Yeah.
I mean, the Habs played well. Credit to them for the first little bit. I mean, going down 3-0, Hockey Night in Canada, against a Montreal team that had won, I don't know how many in a row they'd won. It was a good few in a row. I mean, to answer the way they did, this is 10 times better than just winning 3-0. I think when it comes to showing, like in the grand scheme of things, you'd obviously rather them just, win 3-0. But to show that this team can actually like fight back against a team that is as good as the Canadians are right now, which is something I did not think I'd be saying at any point during the season this year. I'm against Montembeault, who's been lights out for most of the year, very good. I mean, just an absolute, masterclass, I guess, for the Leafs. Just dominant,
Great.
absolutely dominant in a game that the power play as well. Coming into this game, the big thing was how bad the power play has been as of late. I mean, it was moving a lot better. The puck was moving better. They were shooting more. Still a little bit hesitant on some shots, but man, oh man, it was, I don't know. Once Willie scored, I was believing. Exactly. Me as well.
There was more urgency on the power play, and the penalty kill was great too, right? Even the couple of minutes that they had their 4-on-4 was great. They were moving around. They were moving their feet, I thought, for the most part. Again, after the first period I'm talking about, because the first period was horrible. But again, the power play, there was a little bit more urgency and shots from the point, getting pucks to the net, right? Just making things happen, creating a little bit of chaos. Montreal was doing that in the first period, right? The Leafs ended up matching that, and that was the difference, I think. So not even matching that, exceeding
Surpassing
that, right?
it,
Yeah, the Leafs were really, really good tonight. So love that. Connor Timmins threw that big hit too. Like I thought that was awesome there on I think it was Pizzetta of all people. So that was great as well to see that. Kind of out of position at times tonight. He was kind of rocky, but still, I think overall a great effort. And Joseph Woll keeps you in the game. Sometimes you just need one of those performances. He was great. His rebound control was pretty good actually for the most part tonight as well. So great game for the Leafs, and you're feeling good again, right? To put on a performance like this, like now you know that this team can do this. I think this is closer to what they actually are, which I think can, put everything that happened last week hopefully to bed, even though it was a few things that resurfaced that we've seen in the past. But again, I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about this win.
If you were happy about the win, hit the like button, of course. We'll get the Collins in a second. No doubt. The guy Savard is pretty happy to say he finally got a penalty. He was complaining about it too. And I mean, the penalties were, I don't know, Austin Matthews, incredible goal. I mean, there was some, Max Domi, a bit of some bad defensive play, really bad defensive play. And he bounced back a little bit, but it was rough. Did Myers and Ryan Reeves get benched in the third period? Definitely didn't see much of them. Definitely did not see much of them. Philip Myers played 7 minutes tonight. And go ahead.
I was going to touch on that because I think did he leave the game or did he get benched? Like I didn't even notice him. I don't have Twitter or anything open right now.
Yeah, he's also not. Darius can't see chat as well, so I'm kind of relaying it through him. I'm gonna check on Myers. Part of me, I don't know if he would. I don't think he had that bad of a game to where he would get benched, but maybe.
No, I feel like he got hurt. To play 7 minutes when you're playing with Riley normally is absurd. Like I think that he probably left.
We got a $2.79 donation from Bragg A007. Thank you so much, Bragg. If you got any message, let us know. Ryan Reeves played like not great again, but again, he kind of did his job to a degree. And thank you again for the donation, Bragg. I'll play the animation. A nice goal from Lawrence. Great game from Steven Lawrence, who's been scuffling a little tiny bit as of late, especially after that first line thing. Man, what an absolutely crazy game. It was a masterclass for everybody involved. And it was Leafs playing with 5 D-men, no Myers for a bit. I mean, 7 minutes. Yeah. Myers played terrible. Like, he didn't play good at all, but it would be interesting if they did bench him. I mean, if they did, good for Craig Berube because it clearly worked. So
Right, exactly. Yeah, I feel like I have a hard time believing he benched him, and he only played 7 minutes. I think that's crazy. Although, again, I don't have anything open right now, so I could read this in the morning or look back on this in the morning and be like, "What are you talking about?" But Reeves was benched, and that was the right move at that point in the game in the third period. And Marner was double shifting, and there was times where Nylander was going with Nyes and Matthews, so that was fine at that point in the game. You're up 2 goals, 3 goals, right? That makes sense. You don't want Reeves out there. Could be a liability at that point in the game, right? You don't need him out there. So that made total sense. And in the defense of Ryan Reeves, because listen, he makes some mistakes and all of that, right? Like all of that is true. But he did ask Jack Eye to fight. He went up to him and said, "I want to fight right now." And Jack Eye told him, "No, look up at the scoreboard." And now I want to know if Jack Eye had a look at the scoreboard after the game.
Politely declined. Benoit should be in the next game, or should be next game for Myers. Very good chance that does happen. I think either way. Man, what an electric game. There's a lot to go over. We have a couple of call-ins.
I was gonna say, should we get the call-ins? Maybe 3 stars.
Yeah.
Should we wait for the 3 stars?
Wait for the 3 stars till after.
Yeah.
The vibes are vibing. Montreal was flying in the first, then they stopped skating. Okay, we're gonna get the first call-in. Jim, I'll get you right after this person. Don't know the number off the top of my head, so we're gonna see who it is first. Hello, who is this calling in? I don't think I have the number memorized. Jose with the call in. Jose, 1 second. We got a donation really quickly, but everybody can hear you now. Everything is good. Robert with the 5. After his high-flying night tonight, Wall is joining DC or Marble. One of the crazier games from Joseph Wall as Bragg A007 comes in with a $13.99 with no message again. Their first super. Thank you so much, Bragg, for the $13.99. Again, if you have any messages in chat, let me know. Robert, thank you as well. I agree. Crazy game from Joseph Wall. Jose, first time calling in, I believe.
Yes, sir.
First time calling in for one.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for your support throughout the past months, year, however long. You've been around for a very long time. 2, what a game to call in for. It's definitely the one.
I loved it. I didn't get to watch it. I listened to it. The game was amazing in the third period. Joe Wall stood on his head.
Yep.
I loved it. It was a great game.
And the Joseph Wall experience is always an up and down one, but I mean, he showed like 1A goaltender potential tonight, and this is why he was, a good prospect, all these different things. And when he just stays focused and doesn't overcompensate for things, and he doesn't get in his own head, he is an elite goalie. However, the problem is he doesn't do it at all times, but man, I'm as ecstatic as I have been for any game here. And I agree with you. Joseph Wall was he's that guy for now. And let's not forget, Jose, Anthony Stolarz is nearing a return over the next couple, 2 to 3 weeks.
I can't wait.
Very, very.
I want Stolarz back so bad.
Yeah, Darius, let's hear it.
Stolarz, I guess, is still the number one guy. First of all, actually, Jose, pleasure to talk to you finally. Your support has been unbelievable.
Yes, sir, my brother.
Channel.
No problem.
It's been unbelievable, so thank you. But yeah, I mean, Wool has played. Sometimes he'll pull performances like this out of nowhere, seemingly. And I said last stream that he seems too technical at times. He threw that out the window tonight. So he was just diving across the crease. Making the saves. So that was awesome to see. But Stolarz, I mean, when you get a performance like this, it's just exciting that Stolarz is coming back because you're just going to alternate that on any given night. We saw it earlier in the season. So I think that's great. And having Joseph Woll get some more rest, I think he's going to be better for that every time he does play because he's playing a lot of hockey right now, but he had a great performance tonight. So I'm a big Joseph Woll fan. I will defend him even when he has bad games. I have on the channel, even if I'm wrong. I just like him as a goaltender. I think he's great. But when he has performances like this, you see, what he has.
Yes, that's true. Very true. Yeah. The thing I liked about this game, everybody scored, not just one guy. It was everybody on that team scored tonight. That's a playoff team. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, and that's actually a very good point. The fourth line scored. We had David Camp with an empty net goal. Let him get in there a little bit, pad his stats a bit. And, Stephen Lorenz scored. Nylander scored. McMahon scored. Robertson scored. You got power play goals. Of course, Austin Matthews scored. And the only one who didn't really score was Mitch Marner out of, the big, and Matthew Nyes, I guess. But they all played so well that you almost forgot at times that this team 2 games ago was, lost 3 in a row and in pretty rough fashion. But like we've been preaching here, like those losses are going to happen. It's how they bounce back. I saw someone say it in chat, to see what Craig Berube said in between that first and second period in the intermission that got these guys fired up, because again, nothing against Sheldon Keefe, but like the pushback from this team is so much different now visually in the regular season under Craig Berube than it is Sheldon Keefe. And yes, sometimes games are harder because of Craig Berube's play style, whether that be scoring less goals at times, whether that be being more physical. But in games like this where it's evident what it means, not only in the regular season, but in a few months' time when it's the playoffs, these are the games you're going to look back at and be like, okay, this prepared them for, again, going against a very good Canadiens team there.
Yeah, but you got to remember, too, we were down 3-0 in the first period.
Yeah.
Toronto would have just flopped and said, okay, we're done. We're going to just lose this game. They didn't do that. Second period, third period, they all came back. Always in the third period, they come back and try to win the game.
Yes.
Which they did very well tonight.
It could be a problem come playoff time if you get on 3-0 in the first period. I will say that. But it's good that you know that they still have the fight in them, that they can be dragged back into the fight and put on a performance like that and score 6 goals on a team that has been rolling, right? So, 6 goals on a goalie at least. So that was great to see. That's encouraging, the stuff like that. I didn't want to see them roll over and die, right, in the second period and the third period. So
right.
I thought that was great as well. But again, they got to clean up the first period. That is something to take away from this game too, but it was a great performance nonetheless.
I agree with you.
All right, Jose. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Hopefully you'll be calling in some more in the future whenever you want to. Either way, thank you again for your continued support. And any final words? What an incredible game. It almost left me speechless for a bit there. It was that good. But any final words?
For me?
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. Keep up the good work on the podcast. I love your podcast. I watch it every night and all the videos. And the Leafs rock.
Exactly.
I want to see more of this in the future.
Give me as much of this as possible. Well, Jose, again, thank you so much for the support. We see you in the comments. We see you in the live stream comments as well. And it was a pleasure for you calling in. And it was a great game for your first call in. So thank you.
No problem. It's nice meeting you guys.
Nice meeting you guys. Take it easy, Jose. Hopefully we'll see you in the chat as well as we continue this great game. But Darius, it was I'm fired up. I don't know if I've ever been more fired up as Robert comes in with the 5. Fun fact, this is the first time since 1942 that the Leafs scored 7 goals in Montreal, which is an insane stat. An absolutely insane stat. First time since 1942.
That is pretty, I mean, really? Like, I actually find that hard to believe, but that's great. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, that I just noticed as we were on the phone with Jose, and I didn't want to interrupt the conversation we were having, but obviously with Meyer only playing 7 minutes, Chris Tanev played almost 25 minutes tonight, right, at his age too. So like the guys were just putting in work and continuing to do, and they look great. Most of the defensemen at least, but even OEL playing 22 minutes, right? Like this guy's a third pairing, quote unquote, third pairing defenseman, played 22, almost 23 minutes. Same thing with McCabe, right? McCabe, so much poise, so much patience with the puck. Like shout out to the defense as well, because obviously we're pinpointing, who was playing well as individuals, but I thought the defense was actually pretty good as a unit too, considering one guy didn't even play almost the entire game.
Yeah. And we had someone in the chat say, Brag 07, it's me, Darius, John. Braga? I don't know. Shout out
John.
Shout out to John for the...
I know exactly who it was as soon as I heard the username.
Shout out to you for the donation. Cheers, Jose. Everybody's showing Jose some love. Oh, that is a problem. Come on, everyone. Let's get 100 likes. What are we at now? We're at 61 likes. All right, Jim is ready to call in. Jim, if you're still in here, I think you are ready to call in. So, Jim, I'm going to admit you in here. Here you go, Jim. All right, Jim. It was a great game. First of all, again, shout out to Jose for the first time calling. It was a pleasure to meet Jose, of course. Shout out to you, Jose. Jim, I'm excited to hear your takes about this one tonight. It was as good as it gets, I think. I don't know if I could be much. I don't know. Nothing to complain about.
You know what? First of all, I just want to say happy Hockey Day in Canada to everyone in the chat, and of course to you gentlemen. It's an awesome day to be a Leafs fan, is it not?
insane.
This was a great day. This was a good day.
Best day of the year.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to. My girlfriend's down, and so we've been enjoying all of Hockey Day in Canada. But we did watch the Ottawa game, and although obviously not a crazy game, and to watch what they did to Boston, I thought, wow, they've really set the bar pretty high as far as expectations moving forward for what the Leafs and Habs are going to have to bring in this game. And not only did they meet those expectations, they absolutely crushed and exceeded them. So amazing game all the way around, guys. That said, great start for the Habs. Let's give them some credit. They came out with a great deal of speed. They had a ferociousness on the forecheck, and it gave. And honestly, their forecheck gave the Leafs a lot of problems early. Habs put in a lot of work, and they had a well-deserved 3-0 lead. And at that point, there was a point where I thought, wow, okay, the Leafs are going back to like a kind of a mailing it in kind of game, even though they were working, but they were just getting outworked, frankly, But what a response. So much to talk about, so much good. And I can't imagine how much easier it must make your guys' job when the Leafs and the team that you support on this channel has a night like tonight, because I don't recall who it was, but someone in the chat brought up like this has been tonight was likely the craziest game since that Carolina game.
I saw that as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And I you know what? And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yeah, this might even rival that. Like, that's how crazy this game was for me. Thoughts, guys, on that, and then I'll move forward.
I'm gonna hop in. I know I've been speaking a lot here. It's my night to be fired up. I'm as fired up as it can be. I'll let you go in and
love it.
It was we saw for one, shout out to the Senators to a degree for beating Boston, pushing them out of a playoff spot again further.
Yeah.
I think they're out at the point. The standings change every day, but that game was 5-3. Ottawa comes back, they win. I think in a shootout. Either way, to match that game, now if you're let's say you're a casual hockey fan or hockey, not a fan of either one of the teams playing the night, and you watch this game, or you were at the arena like a couple of our friends. It is one of you got a bang for your buck whether you watched it from the arena or at home. My girlfriend, who is starting to get into hockey a little bit more, loved this game, which is something that she doesn't always say for most Leafs games. So It was just so exciting from start to finish. And if you want someone who isn't into hockey to get into hockey, just show them this game and it will do a great job. There was action for even the whole game. If you're a Habs fan, Leafs fan, whatever, but from the second period to the end there, nonstop action. And that third period took like 45 minutes or something crazy like that. So just an insane game as Robert comes in with the 5, shorthanded goal for Matthews in career, keeping the PK. Condolences. Yeah, my brother is not they'll take their moral victories. I think technically the Habs are 47% on the win-o-meter. So I think I think he just texted us saying he'll take his moral victory, which is interesting. Jose, Nick, and Darius rock. Jose, you rock. Thank you for coming in and calling in as well. But Jim, it was an electric one, and that shorthanded goal, which is hilarious because it technically wasn't. It was, but it was a weird one.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, for just to kind of take a big picture perspective here, if you look at what Hockey Day in Canada does, it really is a celebration of the sport and how much our nation embraces what this sport is and what it means to us as a country, and it's such a big part, and it's ingrained in our culture. And if you're just taking a look at just these two games, the Ottawa game, and then obviously this incredible game between the Leafs and the Habs, regardless of which side you were on, you were cheering and you were out of your seat, and it was absolutely electric. So in a sport where the NHL really wants to promote the sport in the U.S., I think today, if you were even as you said, Nick, very, very true. Even if as a casual fan of this sport, if you were to have tuned into Hockey Day in Canada, seen those two games, you're a fan of this sport. And so I think perhaps the U.S. could learn a lot from Canada in the sense of how to promote this sport, because wow, having a day dedicated to celebrating how incredible this game can be is just, there's no better way to market it, guys. So I'll move on here, but so I want to just piggyback on what Darius was talking about with OEL. Wow, this guy. Absolutely incredible. When he was signed, I was really pumped just because of his size and some of his overall stats. And you know what? And I just really like his game. And tonight was an absolutely incredible performance, dominant performance. And Darius, spot on as usual. Why is this guy not on the first unit of the power play? And you know what? With all due respect to my much beloved Morgan Riley, I'm sorry, but you've got to go on. Then it's the next guy up mentality, and OEL is that guy. And you know what? And I think tonight kind of proved it. And you know what? I hate to say this, but yet Darius, yet again, you are right, my friend. Because I think he had a great performance. I think he's shown time and time again. He has. Everyone always talks about how the power play for the Leafs is missing that bomb from the point and that killer shot. Well, we got a pretty good eyeful of what OEL can bring to that. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I think so. To go back to when he was first signed, like you brought up, I was very happy because watching him in Florida, he was playing third pairing minutes ish. At times he would move up, and he was playing on the power play as well. And he had a couple bombs from the point that he scored in not only the finals, but on their way to the finals. So when they signed him, I was like, this is perfect. This is something that they can add to the power play, and he'll play well. And I had people tell me during the summer, like, I can't believe the Leafs signed OEL. Like, he's a third pairing guy. He's not going to come in and win the Stanley Cup for you. And I said, no, exactly. He's a third pairing guy. He's going to play probably third pairing minutes here, and he's going to maybe play on the power play, and that'll be his role. This is a perfect signing. And they haven't used him. I think they've used him for what, 3 games on the power play, or the first power play unit to start the season, and they moved away from it. And like you said, right, you got to keep moving. You got to continue to pivot. If something's not working, try something else, right? So I think the answer now is try OEL there until the wheels fall off. And if it's not working, right, off the start, then try something else. That's fine. But to continue to put Riley there in a season where we know that he's struggling, I think is unfair to the team. They're not giving them the best chance to score on the power play either. I think it's the personnel on the power play that is the problem. I think that Mark Savard and Craig Berube are telling them to do something very specific, and they're not doing it. And that is another reason why they haven't been successful on the power play. But I think just having a shot threat from the point, even if it doesn't go in, just for a rebound, create some chaos. And we saw it tonight. He floated it from the point, and it went in on the power play. So I've been saying it for the entire year. He should be there. And I think it'll help the power play. I'm not saying that's going to be the savior of the power play, but it's just something else. Let's continue to pivot until you find something that works. If it stops working, find something else, right? The Leafs are very stuck in their ways in that way. So I hope that they change something up in that way.
Well, I think too, Darius, to just kind of piggyback onto that point, is that I think when you look at OEL, like the Leafs in general, they've been looking to get a quarterback for their power play, right? And I'm not necessarily saying that OEL has earned that right, but he's definitely giving defensive looks and giving a different, because I mean, our power play, I mean, as much as we should be better, we're obviously struggling despite the offensive talents that are on it. And so adding that bomb of a point shot and him being able to set up those guys that are down low, it adds another dimension. So it pulls players up into the offensive zone. They have to move up to cover that point shot, in which case it leaves one of the more offensively talented guys down low to be open for either a rebound or to do work their magic. So anyways, I've talked enough about that, guys, but obviously I'm a big supporter of OEL on the first, and I really like his game tonight. Wall, unreal tonight. There's an old expression everyone uses, especially when it comes to goalies, that you have to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good. Yeah. I think Wall was definitely that in some of those cases. There was 2 different times where there was weird rebounds and whatever, and they kind of just missed the net. That said, there was I lost count, but it was at least 5-10 bell saves that he made, where like going post to post. He had that one that went off his knob. And Darius, it was funny because I think it was a couple of games ago, talked about we talked about the different styles, right? Of like a technical versus like a more like free-flowing goalie. I'm not a goalie guy, but that's how I'm going to describe it. And I jokingly referred to oh Jesus! I can't believe I can't remember the other goalie's name. Stolarz as like a dominant Hasek type, right? Well, here we are tonight, and it looks like that Wall had a very Dominic Hasek-like performance, where he's making a save with his back to like he's facing the net. And anyways, absolutely incredible performance for him. And yes, he was lucky on those, but you know what? Lucky is good sometimes. And he did it, and he did a great job. And I'm just really happy for the kid. He looked great tonight. William Nylander, I've crapped on him a lot. Well, again, guys, he's back. Welcome back, Nylander. I'm glad you like your mental vacation for that 3-game losing streak. But yeah, he's engaged. He's there. He's all over the puck, and he was very noticeable. He was everywhere tonight. Everywhere I looked, it was like, oh, there he is. Oh my God, there he is. And he just has this beautiful, because his hands are so good, his edges are so strong that he can just play with the puck, and it almost looks like he's just like but he's not. He's just that skilled, and it kind of lulls the opposition into thinking, okay, he's just gonna like stick around the perimeter, and all of a sudden the puck's in there. Anyways, impressed with his game tonight. And lastly, guys, I want to talk about I'm his biggest cheerleader, but Bobby McMahon. So continues to have lots of confidence, and that confidence it always is growing. He's a young guy, relatively, I should say, young guy. But my God, his foot speed and just all the aspects of his game. He can be physical. His shot and his just hockey IQ is very high. And I don't think that necessarily gets to be seen as much when he's playing with other players, aka Darius, one of your favorite players, Robertson. He doesn't necessarily get that. So, and I think tonight his game makes a really strong case for why he should be playing up in the lineup, because simply if he's on a better line, he becomes a better player, and I believe is a better reflection of the player he can really be. What do you guys thought?
I want to say one thing. I mean, if this game had continued to go down the path that it did when they were down to 3-0 or down 3-0 after the first, I think the story of this game would have been Bobby McMahon's play because of how good he was playing, and of course Joseph Wall. But that would have been the storyline of this game had they not had everyone else in the team, including Bobby McMahon, not stepped up and gotten as hard as they did. I mean, I'll touch on a few of your points. The Joseph Wall thing, I completely agree. He looked more like Anthony Stolarz than Joseph Wall tonight. Hasek's a good example as well. He looked very composed, and I think a lot of it for him is, I'm not going to say mental, but I'm going to say a lot of it in him is just staying calm. And whether that's getting in his head or not, just staying calm on the ice. Like, he has a big frame. He plays, when he is calm, like we saw tonight, he gave up 3 goals. And then from there on out, didn't give up another goal from the second or third period. The rebound control is still, not amazing. There was still a good few rebounds. But when you're playing as well as he was, and also when the Leafs are playing as good as they are, it just naturally puts more pressure on the Habs. They were pressing so much that they missed a few chances up right next to the net when Joseph Wall, and you talked about the luck, you have to be good to be lucky. I think the Leafs playing so well, pressing so hard, made the Habs play a lot less free like they were from the first 3 goals. They were pressing a little bit. They were missing a few pucks. Some of Caulfield, he had 10 shots on goal. Some of his shots tonight were unlike usual Cole Caulfield shots. They were on the ground and they were flat, which made Joseph Wall's job easier. But that's because they were down, they were pressing, they felt it in their own home ice. So I think it all kind of just plays off of how good the Leafs are doing. And they were pretty physical tonight as well, both sides. So I think ultimately I think they were also a little bit shocked, the Habs, how good the Leafs responded. I can guarantee you going into that first intermission, Martin St. Louis said, keep doing what you're doing. The Leafs come out. They score 7 unanswered in 2 periods.
Nick Paul has come in with a donation here. You want to acknowledge that? Paul
I will. I actually I was trying to find the impact score chart. Thank you for that call out, Paul. Great comeback for the Leafs. Would have been better if they hadn't gotten themselves into that situation, but Wall was excellent. Plus, I got to razz my brother, so all is well in the world. Also, razz my brother again. He said he sent me the win-o-meter. That's what he sent me in our group chat, and he said moral victory.
Oh, no.
He said moral victory. I think he's joking. Might not be joking.
He's joking.
And obviously joking. And funny thing is that the Leafs impact score chart isn't out, but the Habs one is, and I kind of want to get to that in a minute here. But looking at the this is what he sent me for those curious, the win-o-meter, 57.6% for the Habs, 42.4% for the Leafs. I'm not taking this win-o-meter thing serious anymore, unless it supports. Even then, though, like 7 goals. Win-o-meter, maybe for the first bit. I thought the Leafs completely dominated and outplayed the Habs for 40 minutes of this game. Now, granted, they have their external stats there, but thank you for the call and the donation. I was looking for the impact score chart, so thank you for that.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? I have to admit, full disclosure, that I have enjoyed watching the Habs. And I know they are in a rebuilding year, but they are a fun team to watch. But you know what? Here's what I'll say about the old win-o-meter. The Winometer is great when you lose.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what I'm saying? But you know what's more important than that, and I would tell it to your brother, is that the most important matrix of this game is the scoreboard. So take another look at that one.
Yeah.
You guys scored early, and then we scored 7 unanswered. Wow,
which is funny how you can score 7 unanswered goals and still not be on the Winometer, which I guess some of the unlucky puck luck, I'd assume, some things like that. But again, it all kind of plays into it. And I'll be sure, 100% sure, to be sending my brother the impact score chart of this game. Because I'll tell you one thing, the person at the bottom of that impact score chart, it is one of the worst impact score charts I have ever seen. No. And I'm going to drag it up for Darius to see here.
I have an idea of who it is, yeah.
Now, again, I'm not hating on Lane Hudson. He's a very good player, but boy, was that a game. Anyways, I'm off the hat. They're fun to watch. And I was actually going to mention Lane Hudson a little bit. Like, I told you, someone halfway through this game, like, the Leafs did a great job containing what he does.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm just taking a look at the impact score chart as you put that up.
I'll put it up again for you if you want to look again.
Wow.
And again, I think this is more on the Leafs than it is necessarily Lane Hudson. But, I mean, coming into the game, Lane Hudson as a defenseman drives play a ton. He skates, he goes into the neutral zone, all these different things. The Leafs completely neutralized that tonight. No pun intended. Completely neutralized it. And it was like, -4, which is a little crazy. I wouldn't mind if the Leafs one came out. And a lot of that also, Joseph Woll, an absolutely dominant thing. Darius, I'll let you get in there. I've been speaking a lot.
Yeah, to touch on Joseph Woll, like you mentioned, Jim, too. As soon as he made that save late in the third where he dove across, I was like, Joseph, you're making me look
which
bad
one
here.
are you talking about? Because I think there was probably 7 of them in the third period.
Where he dove across on his stomach.
Makes a good point.
Yeah, he got it with his knob. When he made that one, I was like, I just called you a technical goalie who doesn't, play outside the box like 2 games ago, and you're doing stuff like that. But no, it was great to see him. Great game. You keep bringing up Bobby McMann. He was fantastic tonight. I would argue he was the only Leaf that played 60 minutes tonight. He was even noticeable in the first period when things weren't going well. So he was awesome. And they completely made, again, like you said, the Habs have been fun to watch, like from the outside looking in, because like Patrick Laine for me is a great story. Like even if he is a Montreal Canadian, I think that's a great story this year. So good for him. And even, Lane Hudson as a rookie coming in, like he's doing something incredible, right? But they completely neutralized him tonight. And as a Leafs fan, I think that's awesome. That was fantastic to watch. So that was really great. And when you see the impact score chart,
too. And this isn't to hate on Lane Hudson. It's more so to say how good the Leafs shut him down. Now, he's going to have games like this. He was a -5 in tonight's game. And I'm just seeing that on Twitter. Now, that being said, I'm also not going to, pump his tires here. He had an atrocious game defensively. It was visible. It was evident. That being said, he's a young player. That stuff's going to happen. But it's lovely to see that in a time where the Habs are unstoppable, they have all these guys going, Lane Hudson, Patrick Laine, who is very scary to play against, Patrick Laine. The Leafs just completely neutralized them. And that is the Chris Tanev and Jake McCabe effect in full effect right there with how good, the whole defense actually, for how good they have been. And man, oh man. Jake McCabe, by the way, the team is just better when he's in. So I hope he's one of the most valuable, most important players on this team. Any thoughts on that, Jim?
Well, I just want to say that, I did have some stuff prepared to talk about the Habs and their game, but I'll just cut it to this: is that Patrick Laine, his struggles both physically this year and in the past, and more importantly mentally, are well known. But the game, he has not hidden those, and so on a personal note, his game is incredible, and I'm really happy for him, but I'm just happy for him because he just seems like a nice guy that's had a really rough go physically and mentally. And I'm just so happy for him that he has found his game, but more importantly, it looks like he's found a real home in Montreal. They've really embraced him. And and you know what, for a guy I don't know him obviously, but for a guy that seems like a really nice guy, I'm really happy for him. And he's definitely a power, he is a threat. His game is incredible. And I'm just happy for him that that he's found some peace of mind, and most likely, I think he signed a 1 year with Montreal. Is that correct, guys? Do you remember?
I believe it was the trade, right? So whatever he has left on his contract.
I think there is 1 year left.
I'll check for you.
Okay. Yeah. But regardless, if he has 1 or 2 years left, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Montreal re-signs him, just because he's got. leadership capabilities. He has taken that team forward, and I'll say this just they are in a rebuild, but God, to have a rebuild and to have the streak that they've had and the excitement, you could feel it. Like when the Habs were up 3-0 tonight, there's nothing like these Habs period, but that volume in there from the game was absolutely incredible. So I'll just say this, obviously the rivalry is the thing of legends, and I'm quite happy with the result tonight. But you know what? You can't have a rivalry if teams are garbage. Like just look at Toronto and Ottawa up until the last couple of years, right? If you know what I mean? So I'm happy because if they're better, it just makes this legendary rivalry go on and get even better. And we have nights like tonight where we're on the positive, and we'll just have just as many where we're on the other side.
Yep.
But man, does tonight feel good.
One more year.
Gentlemen, I'll leave it. I will leave it with that, guys. And I just want to say to anyone that's listening now on the chat for the first time, you have found an amazing channel. It's a great community, and these two gentlemen that you're watching are absolutely incredible. Please support the channel. Consider becoming a member and subscribe because these guys are the best. Gentlemen, have a great night.
Thank you, Jim. As
Thank you,
always,
Jim.
great
Take
insights. I was happy to see your number pop up. And Patrick Laine has one more year in his contract, so it's he'll probably be in Montreal. I would expect him to sign an extension as well. But Jim, thank you for the column, thank you for the insights and your support. And man, if the Leafs keep rolling like this is these post game. I mean, they're always fun, win or loss, but man, are they electric at times like this. Thanks for the column,
guys. I can't even wait until playoffs.
Yeah,
Can you imagine what that's
I think about it often.
Crazy.
I think about it often. I think as Johnny comes in with the 5
Cheers,
puck,
Good night.
Duster. Good night, Jim. Have a great evening. Dr.
Jim.
Ricky, Scorch, and Chad Duster Buster with the membership. Thank you, Duster, or thank you, Johnny, for the members. If you got a member from Johnny, make sure to type in the chat. And thank you to each and every one of you, and Jim as well. Eric, I see you waiting. We're gonna get you in right now. Thank you so much for that as well, Jim. Fantastic call as always. The vibes are great. A lot of good points. And Johnny, again, thank you. First time, I guess second time now as and you got gifted a membership, so it came back around. Everything is working well. If you just got a membership, throw the Stolars emotes or the Chief emotes in the chat because man, oh man, was it. I mean, you think about this game. Can you imagine? I'm not gonna get ahead of myself here, but the playoffs, how exciting that's gonna be and how electric it's gonna be. And we can discuss that a little bit with Eric. Eric, how you doing? How you feeling? The vibes are at an all-time high right now, and I got your number memorized, so it was a good game.
Hey, Nick. Hey, Darius. Thanks for having me on. The boys are buzzing and not too much head fakes tonight, I'll tell you.
I'll pop up the – I won't do it. Actually, yes, I will.
The head fakes per 60 were down tonight, some would say.
But honestly, like the first period was a leafy period. I know I use that word a lot, but it's just the last couple of games, like the losing streak that the Leafs has been on, it's been almost like Sheldon Keefe hockey, like the Leaf types of play that when Sheldon was coaching. And that's a bad path to go. I shouldn't say a bad path to go on because one of the best like Leafs for the coach that got so many wins in the regular seasons and all that just couldn't get past the second round. But at the end of the day, like, I don't blame him. I blame like the players because it's the same personnel and players, like the players that they have right now, the core four and whatnot. Right. So, but other than that, we got the W against the Habs and we're buzzing right now. We got 2 in a row.
And Darius, you got it. I'll let you roll.
2 in a row, and they look good while doing it. Like the New Jersey game. The New Jersey game, you go down, and this is what I've been. Tonight was a little bit different, but against New Jersey, I kind of like what they're doing this season where they stick around in games. New Jersey can score goals, and they were only up 1-0, but you stick around in that game and see what happens, and then the skill shines through. And I think that's kind of what Berube is trying to build here, and I think that's something, I keep saying it, I've been saying it all season, that will translate to the playoffs because that's more how the playoffs go and how playoff games go. So I think that, if you just stick around in games, you give yourself an opportunity to win, the skill will end up shining through and you'll get an opportunity to win the game. That's what they did against New Jersey. Tonight, obviously, ideally, you don't want to go down 3-0, but they did, but they battled back. And Bobby McMahon, I think, is the guy that brought them back into the fight. They came back with a great performance, and they looked great. Besides that first period, they looked great tonight. I think they dictated play. Montreal had some great chances, but your goaltender makes some big saves. And that's what good teams do, and that's what good teams have. So the Leafs continue to roll. I thought they played great. And Nick, I don't know if you want to build off that at all, but it was a great performance.
Yeah. Coming off of, I'm looking again, I mean, it was lost against Carolina, Canucks, and Stars, and they lost 3-0 against the Canucks, 4-1 against the Stars in back-to-back games or whatever. And then to come back now, and we think about back to that Devils game, there was 2 instances now in the past 2 games. Let's rewind back to the Devils game. Till 5 or 6 minutes left in the game, we thought they were going to lose. They come back, Austin Matthews scores, and they win in overtime. That's a huge comeback, and that's an example of them being mentally strong and their whole team being all in. Today's game, you go down 3-0, which is very difficult. I made an analogy. It's like being down 25 or 30 points in basketball. And my girlfriend asked me how big of a deal is 3-0 down. 3-0 is hard to come back from. Granted, first period, obviously 40 minutes to play. That aside, that's a huge comeback against a very good, which is, kills me to say it, a very good team, but their goaltending has been elite since they obviously got the rookie and they have Montembeault. To come back really shows promise for not only the playoffs, but even just winning the Atlantic Division. Because I see someone in chat from Jordan, the Atlantic Division, this year, it is tight. Every single, and for the first time in a very long time, every single regular season game right now matters a lot. You have to win that Atlantic Division if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. You have to give yourself every single edge possible, and every single one matters. And to squeeze out 4 points, considering the outcome of the past 2 games, it doesn't make up for the 3 losses in a row, because the 3 losses in a row were lazy. They were bad. However, it sure as hell makes it a lot easier to stomach. And William Nylander said it's only 3 losses. What's the really big deal? He's come out and had 2 of his best games of the year, arguably, over the past couple nights. Any thoughts on that, Eric?
Yeah, so tonight was such a big win for the boys in blue. You got the Habs here coming in at 48, and we at the time had 58. So we were 10 points above them, and they're just shy of a wild card spot. So if we would have lost tonight, they would have won. They would have been 8 points behind us. So the East is so close this year. I haven't seen this in probably over a decade of how close the Eastern Conference is this year. The last wild card spot, you got the Senators and the Blue Jackets with 50 and 51. And Boston is currently out of it at 50. And the Habs are 48. When is the last time we've seen the Habs and the Bruins close like this in the standings? It's been ridiculous. And the Habs, even though they lost tonight, they're probably still one of the hottest teams in the league right now with all these wins they've had lately. I know we don't like all the head fakes and all that, but they might have a good chance of being in the playoffs this year.
Feed me a Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs playoff round. It would be electric. I'll grab the impact score chart in a second. Also, one thing to note, the Panthers won tonight. So now this win is big just in that front. You remain 3 points ahead of the Panthers now, and we'll dive into it in a minute here. But going up on Tuesday, I believe, against the Lightning. It might be Wednesday. Either way.
Monday night. Yeah.
Monday night? Monday night. They were going wrong because for me it's past midnight, so it's saying Sunday. So Monday against the Lightning, who are 4 points behind but have 3 games in hand. It's going to be a massive game again. Every single game matters so much, Darius. I'll grab the impact score chart if you want to keep going here. Does someone have it? Where do you? I can't find it. Anyways.
Hockey stat cards on Twitter is normally where I grab.
I'm on there as well. Jim, where did you find where did you find that one?
Go ahead, Eric.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off. I'm just curious on, Wall has played 3 in a row. I'm curious who they go with in nets on Monday.
It's a great question.
Or he gets sent down and call up Murray. I know Sellers has been skating and taking drills, which is awesome, but I know he's not ready for return. But at this point, you don't want to risk overplaying Wall and he gets injured, because then we'd be in trouble, I think.
Good.
I think so, Nick. I'll let you take it in a second, but just what I think. I don't think Matt Murray's an option right now. So I think it's either Hildeby or Wall. And when I say not an option, I don't mean logistically. I mean I don't think you can literally put him in the net in the NHL right now. So I think it's either Wall or Hildeby, and I think it's a question, of who you're playing at this point. And the fact that it's Tampa Bay on Monday, Atlantic Division, opponent, I think you have to go with Wall again. Again, if he's not ready to go, or he's like, hey, I'm feeling fatigued or whatever it is, maybe you consider putting Hildeby in. But because of who they're playing, I think it has to be Wall again. And then after that, you give him a bit of a break, just because you try to secure that win against Tampa. Plus, Wall played great tonight. If he didn't have a great performance tonight, and you're like, okay, they lost 3-1, let's say, or something like that, then you're like, okay, maybe Hildeby goes next. But he had a great game tonight. And if he's ready to go, I would put him back. But Nick, I don't know how you feel about that. And Eric, I'm curious.
I got the Impact scorecard. I went directly on their website to grab it. So just give me a moment. Jim, thank you as well. And it's a good one. It got to be Joseph Wall. And maybe they rest him, but let's not forget now they have a big break coming up, not necessarily soon, but there's going to be like natural rest for Joseph Wall. Coming off of a game like that, unless he requests it, you have to ride him and ride the hot hand there, because if you don't, these games matter too much, I think, right now to be playing the worst goalie. Dennis Hildeby is too shaky at this moment to go up against a very good, solid, right behind you in the standings, a couple spots down in the Tampa Bay Lightning, against Vasilevsky, which maybe plays a little bit for a young rookie goalie. You're going up against a very established goalie. Like, give me Joseph Wall. Let him, I know he hasn't played a ton of games at the NHL, level in a full season. You got to go with Joseph Wall to me. And I'd be shocked if they go with Dennis Hildeby despite playing, 4 in a row, if he goes. That's what 1A goalies do. So it may as well, you sign into the 3-year deal. You may as well start it now and start to get him about it. Play Wall. If you play with Dennis Hildeby and things start to get dicey again, he lets in an early one, it's just, I'm going to be a little bit upset, quite frankly.
Yeah, you always need to use Wall at this time. He's your starting goalie, obviously, because Stolarz is out with an injury, which is coming.
And he's coming back too. Yeah, exactly.
You got to use Wall. So Wall, he's been looking for this opportunity for a couple of years. I know he's in his last year of his contract. Starting, he's going to be making some of the bigger money next year. Well, he's got to show us what he's worth.
Yeah,
he had a good playoff run last year, but we need to see him in a regular. And the first period, he wasn't looking too good, but the third period, couple 10 minutes left in the third, that's when he's been showing up, and that's the Wall we need to have confidence in the game, so we can win the game and get the 2 points. Yeah. And the one thing I want to add here, boys, is that unfortunately we didn't get John Klingberg. Sad, but he's off to the Oilers. Thank God. I know we chatted about this our last stream, but I think that was best for the Leafs. But I think they got something else cooking here for a defenseman, because the last couple months here I haven't liked. I'm surprised they saddled Benoit again today. Yeah. I know they like the lefty and the righties, but I'm surprised that Benoit's not in, because he's been honestly a workhorse. He checks the bodies and whatnot, and Timmins, I don't find he had an impact the last couple of games.
Yeah. I'll let you speak in a second, Darius. I just have a quick note here. Couple things. I do have the impact scorecard. Regarding John Klingberg, I'm happy they passed on him. He's actually making a bit more than everybody kind of thought originally. So he actually would have counted towards the cap hit, I think, to a point where I would have been upset if the Leafs got him. I forget the exact numbers, but I think it was more than the minimum. It's like 400 or 500,000 more. Either way, it would have been weird. The Leafs don't need him at this moment. And two, the trade deadline again is, we'll dive into. We're gonna have during their little break there, from I don't know when it starts, February 8th maybe, during the Cup and then the All-Star break. We'll definitely have some streams when they're not playing, going over a bunch of trades, especially at that point as you're a month or so away. Things are really going to start to heat up there. But Darius, any thoughts? I can bring up the scorecard if you'd like, because it's funny enough, Ryan Reeves is ahead of Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and Matthew Knies.
Yeah, very odd in that way. But to touch on John Klingberg quickly, if it was a league minimum, I would have been like, okay, makes sense. But I think they probably have something else in the works, like you mentioned, Eric. And they already have John Klingberg 2.0 in Hakanpää right now. So we have too many of the same player. Let's just stick with Hakanpää right now and see what we have in that. And if he can get back to playing, so that's fine. And I think there's other teams out there that could have used them more than the Leafs anyway. So I think the Leafs, if they're going to go out and get another defenseman, look at somebody that brings something else than that, because you already have OEL and Riley right now who are supposed to be bringing the offensive side like that. So I think it was a good idea to pass in that way. But in terms of the impact score chart, I'm not entirely surprised that Ryan Reeves was ahead of Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. They were a little bit quiet tonight. Besides Matthews' goal, I thought that, when the game gets more physical like that, Matthews threw a couple checks, but Mitch Marner for on that side of the puck, not great tonight. But again, other guys stepped up, and that's what good teams do. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, Reeve only played 6 minutes. Go ahead, Derek. Sorry, something to put that.
Yeah, sorry, Nick. Yeah, I'm surprised that Reeves is that high up, and honestly, tonight's the first night in all the games so far this year that I've seen Reeves kind of engage or challenge somewhat. Reeves the type of guy that doesn't like, he never drops his glove first. He always waits till his opponent drops the gloves, but you see him clearly challenging Jack Eye and nothing. It's 3-0 for them. He's being all cocky, and at the end of the day, it's 7-3 for the boys in blue, and he's going home, with the W. But again, I still didn't like his play tonight.
I didn't either.
Again, we talked about it in our last stream. He's making 1.3, I think Darius said. But for what? Just to challenge a guy to fight? Like, we can use that cap space for something else for the playoffs.
I made it a bit bigger for you all as well.
That money to go get a bottom 6. Or we're talking about defensemen. Like, would you guys be willing to trade either Hockenpah or Timmins away for Scott Mayfield? Like, he's only making 2.3, but would that be a good addition for the Leafs for the playoffs? Maybe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade. I would trade. Ooh, that's tough. I think I would trade Connor Timmins in that way. I don't know if I would get rid of Benoit, which seems a little crazy because Timmins is younger and maybe has more upside, I guess, offensively or even defensively. But no, I would look at that because he doesn't make a lot. He's played in the playoffs. He's gone to the third round a couple of times, so I think it's an interesting option.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade Benoit whatsoever. I think he is the perfect 7-man defenseman for the Leafs. Whether he's in or out, when he comes in, he's full of energy. We're going to get an emoji on that guy in front of that train that we got in our chat. Because when he's been slowly starting to chip in too offensively, like going into the zone, he's doing rushes like a bit more than Riley. But like I said, I'm surprised he's been sat out the last 2 games. Not sure what's going on there, but I can't wait for him to come back in the lineup because Timmins, I don't think, has an impact. But again, I'm sure he's just in right now because he's a right-handed defenseman.
Yeah, and I made the impact score chart nice and big for everybody because I know it's hard to see it sometimes. And I'll just go through it a little bit. OEL, I mean, clearly at the very top. You had Steven Lorenz with a phenomenal game. David Kemp, Pontus Holmberg, Bob McMahon is there. Nick Robertson is there. Pretty bad game for Philip Myers and some other players like that. But I mean, in a game where you need the Leafs to step up and win, it was one of these games. And I'm a pretty happy camper right now, and I'm seeing some people on Twitter. I'm curious to see what you guys think of this. Before we move on to the next caller here, it's interesting. Someone said one of the turning points in the game was when Ryan Reeves tried to fight Arber, and Arber pointed to the scoreboard, and then the Leafs, after he pointed to the scoreboard, scored 7 unanswered. So maybe the impact scorecard saw that and added some extra bonus points there behind the scenes, behind the code, and whatever goes into this impact score chart.
Yeah, I think that's probably not the case.
No, definitely.
But I think that could be hilarious. But honestly, maybe a bit of a turning point. Reeves challenged them. You're down 3-0. You got to get the boys back in the game. I don't think it was Reeves that did that. I still think it was McMahon. But no, that's pretty funny that he's pointing. It's a stereotypical thing. Like, I'm not gonna fight you because we're winning. Look up at the scoreboard, and then you lay 7 unanswered goals on them, right? Like, it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and I still hope, like, I know Domi's been doing, all right in the second, center spot for Tavares, but I really hope he kind of enforce and looking for a third line center because as of right now, there's not too many. And I know a lot of speculations are before the Four Nations that it's going to be kind of like a mini trade deadline before the Four Nations. Like, the Leafs should act on it now before they have no options. Because as I said the other day, like, it's this year or next year is like the Leafs window, but they should be going all in this year because it's Brendan Shanahan's last year. So if I'm him, you want to pull the plug and try to get a package deal. And reports came out the other day that they're also going to want to go for a winger, a center and a winger and a defenseman.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of movement as we move towards the trade deadline. I wonder, who's going to be on the team after the trade deadline? Like, that is here now, right? Like, I wonder if Robertson is on his way out or what they're feeling with that. Even Holmberg, he had a nice rush tonight, actually. It came out of nowhere, and that was really the only play I noticed him on. But I think it's going to be interesting to see in terms of who's on the team right now, who stays on the team, because if everything works out the way they want it to, like, get a winger, get a center, get another defenseman, another depth defenseman, somebody has to go. The salary just doesn't work. So I think it's going to be interesting to see who they pick in that way.
Yeah, and I agree. And I know Darius's answer to this, but Nick, do you think that Robinson should be in a top 6 for a game just to try it out? Like, I'm surprised they went with Steven Lorentz for the first line. Although, like, I'm a Robinson hater, I'm going to admit, but they should have put him in the first line before Lorentz. But what's your thought on that?
I mean, I agree with that. If you're going to put someone in there, if you had to tell me between Steven Lorentz and Nick Robertson, I'd pick Nick Robertson. That being said, and I don't want to see him in the top 6. I just don't want to see it. And I mean, maybe they do because he's been playing a lot better as of late. I'm still of the complete and utter mindset that they're going to trade him at this trade deadline. And I don't think these little spurts of good play has shelled or hidden his overall totality of the season for him. I think they can upgrade at that position, at the third line, wherever you want to put it. And I think that's what they're going to do. And let's not forget, this is the last year of his contract. He requested a trade in the offseason. That being said, I mean, there is also a world where, I mean, the only way I see them keeping him is if, and I kind of veered off the whole second or first line thing. I'm veering about sending him out of town, but I'm going to stay on it. Is if they continue to roll heavily into the trade deadline, into the soft trade deadline before the Nations Cup, and they don't want to change things up that way, sure, maybe they keep Nick Robertson. But I still think they are looking to upgrade both third line center and any wing position that becomes available, any wing spot that become available. I think they're really going to try to go in. That being said, he's having an okay, last couple weeks, and I think that maybe they do promote him to the second, especially with John Tavares injured. Obviously, he's not a center, Nick Robertson is, but it opens up some space to move around some players. So there's a world where it happens. I don't want to see it happen, but I could definitely, there is a world where it does happen. I just don't know if they're going to do that, especially with how good, regarding the trade, with David Kampf has been, Steven Lorentz has been, Bobby McMahon has been as of late. Even Pontus Holmberg has started to play better. He had a really good game tonight. It might make Nick Robertson more expendable, even though he's probably a better player than, say, Pontus Holmberg. And maybe, David Kampf, I think, is more important to the Leafs than Nick Robertson is. But I think when it comes to trades, you have to give up players in these trades. And if you're another team, I would say Nick Robertson would probably be the guy that makes the most sense for the Leafs to trade without getting rid of players that are having immediate impact on the team, aside from maybe Pontus Holmberg.
But for value-wise, like, Robinson's, like, not making more money than Holmberg.
It's true.
Or, I do see a world that, like, the problem with Robinson is that he thinks that he's a top 6 player, but right now he's not. And that was the problem last year. I know, like, the stats, I'm not sure what it is this year, but I do believe he's played more games at this point this year than he did last year with Keith. And I know his stats aren't as it was last year, but I think that Robinson would be good on the bottom 6. So compared to last year, like, I would have him on the bottom 6. But this is the guy who has to trade because he thinks that he's a top 6 forward, but he's not. He's not always there to back check. I did realize this year that he's checking more, like he's having more contact, physical to his game, which is what I like. I think that started when he was on the third line with Domi and McMahon. But at the end of the day, like, although that's a good third line, I think McMahon, Tavares, and Willie was a good second pair as it was last year. Like, Pacioretty has kind of declined of how he started off in the season. Like, he might need a reset or, a couple of games off, but he hasn't been playing like he has at the start of the year. So I would slot in McMahon in the second line like they had it last year. It's just the bottom 6 that you need to address. And they should not wait till the end of the season or the trade deadline. You look at O'Reilly 2 years ago, he came in at the trade deadline, and the trade deadline, they probably have about 18, 20 games, but then he broke his finger. So he was out. He missed about 12 games for the Leafs, right? So he came in. He probably only played like 15, 20 games for the Leafs. But you want to get used to, their power play, their penalty kills. You got to learn the process. So if I'm the Leafs, I would try to get a guy in before and get used to the program. Not sure how you guys feel about that, but
I totally agree with that. I think that the NHL's trade deadline is too close to the end of the season. If you look at the NBA, it's like in January, Nick, I think, right? The end of January?
Early February 12th or something like that.
Yeah, so you still get a large sample size. So I think that the Leafs should actually start. And again, the trade market's crazy right now, and a lot of teams are
February
hesitant.
February 6th, so even earlier.
Yeah, it's really early. So I think the trade market's a little messed up right now. A lot of teams are very, hesitant to make trades right now, and it'll probably come closer to the deadline. But if I was the Leafs, pinpoint exactly what you need and who fits that role and go get them as soon as possible. I totally agree with that point because you got to bring them in, get them comfortable with everything so they're ready to go for the playoffs. And if something happens like a freak injury, like when Ryan O'Reilly broke his finger, which I don't even think that year he actually recovered from, I think he was still playing with, a busted finger. You get them in there, get them learning the power play, the penalty kill, wherever they're playing, comfortable with where they're playing, their teammates. They should make that trade sooner rather than later because you got to know what holes you have in your team at this point. So I think that they got to do that sooner rather than later. I totally agree.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Darius. Especially if like last year we used a couple of picks to get Lyubushkin back, which I wasn't a fan of, and Edmonton. But we used picks for that, and we only used these players for about 20 games. So is it worth using our picks for just rentals? No. That's why I think Treliving, when he came in, he was a big fan. And honestly, last year, we didn't have anything else to deal with because Treliving came in to Dubas's jackpot. He had a lot of debt. He used all our picks. Treliving came in, and he had nothing to work with. So he had no choice to get Lyubushkin and all that. That I understand. But this year, when Brody came off the books and everyone came off the books,
Bertuzzi as well,
he even had a bit of leg room to make it his own team. So Kyle Dubas, when he left, there was so much debt. It almost looked like my credit cards a couple of years ago. There was so much debt, couldn't do anything about it. New manager comes in, then he has something to work with. And Treliving's been doing a very good job since he's come in. And I think this year there's going to be a big splash because, like I said, it's Shanahan's last year. So I believe they're going to go get another defenseman for Morgan Riley, and they're going to get a winger and a center. So maybe like Darius said, maybe they're going to get Tanev and their center, like make a package deal. Do we get rid of, Robertson? Do we get rid of, who knows? Maybe they trade Wall as a goalie. Are we going to have that tandem next year? Who knows? If you get a good phone call for him, Treliving might do it. He's made some of the big deals in the past few years with Tkachuk and all that.
Yeah.
So anything's possible right now.
Yeah.
It's the last year. They got to make a big splash because the window's only 2-3 years, like we talked about the last game. They have to go all out. There's no choice. Because if they don't, when's the next time we're going to see this core with the D-core and the goalie tandem? There's none. He has no choice. We have to go all out. And I hope they do. They make a big splash, and we're going to have a video about this, and we're going to talk back about this. That's my dream.
I'll put it out there right now. I think the way that everything's been coming out, the news at least, and some reports, I think it's either going to be Mayfield and Nelson as a package deal from the Islanders, or it's going to be Gord and Tanev as a package deal, and they might go out and get another depth defenseman from another team. I think that's the way it's going because it sounds like they want 3 pieces.
And if it is the package, that's a question for Darius and Nick as well in the chat. Put your input. But if it's in between the Islanders trade or the Seattle, I believe it should be the Seattle because I think Brendan still has terms.
Yes.
And if they lose in the first round, I do believe they're going to get rid of Mitch Marner. But you also got to replace that guy because that guy makes over 100 points. You need that kind of guy to have enough points in the standings to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Brandon Tanev is also that guy. He's the lead penalty killer on his team. He has the most block shots. He's almost like a Mitch Marner at a lower cost. So if that does happen and we do sign him with the center of the Seattle, at least we have options going into next year and we're not losing picks or prospects for rentals. Like if we get rid of our prospects for rentals, that's going to be the dumbest thing. I'm going to throw my TV outside. Like they cannot do that.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I would rather get, instead of the Islander trade with Mayfield and Nelson, because he does have age. Brandon, I believe, is a bit younger. He's a winger, mind you, but I'm sure Domi can take over the center and we can put Tanev on the wing. And we get term out of him. Unlike Nelson, I believe he's in his last year, so he would be a rental, correct?
Yes, I believe so. And the other thing that you mentioned there as well. I believe he has term. Yanni Gord does not have term, but he's a natural. Like he can play center, which would fit it perfectly. And a lot of people don't want him because of his size, but he's been there and won a Stanley Cup before. Like he knows what it takes to win. And the way that he plays, even in Seattle now, I know they're not a great team. You could use more of that on the Leafs. I like him. I'm actually a big fan of him. Again, I wish, you had a player like that and maybe he was a little bit bigger, but I think that he could really help the Leafs actually in that role. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do exactly, but they're going to have to retain salary one way or another. So that might have to include some draft picks. So hopefully Treliving doesn't sell the farm per se, but I think he's going to try and go about this pretty strategically. And I think he should do it soon. He has to do it soon.
Yeah. And the only thing that's in my mind, I'm going towards, like I would rather pick the Seattle deal, but with the Islanders, you're getting a good defenseman out of it. And I'm not sure, is he a right-handed defenseman or left?
He is. He's right-handed, yeah.
Yeah, so that's another box check. But again, he's with term. I think he's in the second year of a 7-year deal, and he's 32. So he would be, I think you guys made a video of this actually, and He would be, another deal with Tanev and OEL. So if they're going to do this, they need to do this now because they only have that 2 to 3 year window. And if they're serious about the cup, then they need to do it. But if they're talking about future, then they would probably have to go with the Seattle deal. But you never know with the Leafs what they're going to do. But anyways, I'm taking up a lot of time, boys. I'm gonna head out. Love the chat. Like and subscribe. It's awesome that Jose came in and finally got to hear his voice after a whole year of trying to get him a membership. It's awesome that we're hearing different voices on the channel. Keep it up, guys, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Eric, have a fantastic evening. Thank you for your continued support, and hopefully the Leafs can continue to roll so we can continue to have these conversations. And you're going to be the among everyone else, you're going to be a big guy in the Collins for these trade streams. I think it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to have to FaceTime there, and I'm going to be like a Darren Drager on TSN here. We're going to have to put some reports in. But anytime, guys, it's awesome that you accept my calls, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Take it easy.
Thank you, Eric.
Have a great night, Eric, as well. And
take care.
Some good points made by him.
Take care, boys.
Take it easy. We're also 7 likes away from 100. So if you're in here and you haven't hit the like button, 100 would be crazy for a mid-season game. Granted, it is a big mid-season game here.
Nick, should we get to our 3 stars on the night?
We do have one more person waiting in the call-in.
Oh, all right.
Now, I don't have this number memorized, so it might be a new call-in. We're gonna see. Then we can do the 3 stars after that. It's gonna be a very interesting one. I'm not. Oh, look at Darius. He's vertical. Okay, he's back. He's back. All right. Who is this waiting in the in the woodworks here calling in? Okay. I don't hear him. Okay. Well, maybe it was I can. Yeah, is that Blake? No worries. Who is it? Good. First time caller.
First time caller, long time watcher. I just wanted to say, Nick, thank you for stealing my thunder because the majority of what I wanted to say tonight was I cannot believe the 7 unanswered goals after our good friend Arbor Jackass pointed at the scoreboard at the end of the first. I'm loving it. And second, buddy, I got to ask you, where's that Patrick jersey?
Oh yeah, that's a great question.
That's a great question. Yeah, where is that
now? I have a story behind that one, and I was still waiting for it to go on the site. It took a while. I will promise you, Paul, that it will be here at some point. That's what I got for you.
No, totally fair, man, buddy. You're leaving me here hanging. You know, I'm enjoying all the spoils by myself. I'm here to share the wealth a little bit. Come on.
I will. You know what? You reminded me. And to be honest, I got the Nylander one. I'm gonna write it down, and I'm gonna go ahead and. You're right. What color do you want? I'll let you pick it. Go ahead and pick the color.
You know what?
A lot of
you know what? I gotta say, you got to go alt. You got to go with the nice black and blue. New Jersey, old man. It's a nice polarity. I kind of love it. That's the way I would do it.
Okay, got it. Written in. It'll be here hopefully at some point over the next month or two. Shipping to where I'm at is always a rough one. But Any other thoughts here before we go into our 3 stars and wrap up? I mean, it was a crazy game. I know I probably said a lot of the things you were thinking, but man, what an electric performance. And I might have to get Pat's jersey after night just because of the absolute, I mean, rocket he took to the face there in the third, second, whatever.
He has been a juggernaut out there. Not so much with the scoring, but my God, the way that he is just handling bodies out there, the way he's handling play. I'm loving the fact that we got the guy. Honestly, I got nothing else really. Just, my God, I hope we stay away from Brock Nelson. The guy, I do know he's a great player. He's going to put up points for us, but we need a defensive center at 3C. We need a defensive center at 3C. So that would be my only complaint. Other than that, guys, go Leafs go. Enjoy your weekend. Have a couple of drinks once the stream is done, and enjoy your Saturday.
Thank you. What is your name in chat again?
Oh, Papa Paulie.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Have a fantastic evening. I love the energy in the call, and hopefully next time you call in, I won't have stole all of your takes there from the whole time. I had a lot to say tonight. But thank you for the call, and thank you for your support. Thank you for reminding me and calling me out on the Patches jersey. It will be there. It will get in, and I will go with your colorway, and then the jersey after that it will be white. But have a fantastic Saturday, and thank you again for the support and tuning in. I love the energy, and hopefully we'll hear from you again soon in the future streams.
Absolutely, guys. Like and subscribe, and have a great weekend.
Take it easy. Have a fantastic evening. And shout out to Papa Paulie. We are now 3 likes away from 100. Love the energy tonight. The call-ins, we had a lot of call-ins tonight. So everybody who called in, thank you
was awesome.
Very much. Jim, Paul, Eric, Jose, everybody who donated. I saw Shane in here as well. Shout out to you, Shane. We saw Mo. Yep. We saw, I'm trying to make sure. Did I miss anybody? Aiden also donated. Robert donated. Paul Taylor donated. I think I got everyone, but either way, everyone who supported. Your John, I think was the one.
John
as well. Thank you for all the support. This was like our longest stream. Shout out to you, Papa Paulie. Huge shout out to you. What a great name too. What a great name. And thank you again for the call-in. Apologies. I mean, we had the call-ins were just elite. Sorry for making you wait a little bit.
Maybe we got to get the call-ins quicker on these streams because we're stealing the thunder of these guys.
We're starting to get people waiting all the time. Maybe we'll go there. Okay.
I am curious about 3 stars tonight. This is I think I have an interesting list. I've had it in my head since we started the stream. So I think it's going to be, I don't know, I'm curious, but I want to see the chat as well. Let's get the chat going. Everybody send your 3 stars.
And we hit the 100 likes. We have 20 new members in the stream as well. So new emails coming as well. All right. There is I mean, this is crazy. I'm going to take a second and think. I'm going to put my glass, because these are some of the foggiest glasses I've ever seen. They need a cleaning. I'll let you start with your, this looks ridiculous. With your 3rd stars.
That's a nice look there, Doc Brown. I like the glass on the top there. But my 3rd star tonight, I'm going to go with Bobby McMahon. Maybe he should be higher on the list, but I think there's 2 guys that are more deserving, honestly, tonight. But I will say he was fantastic. He dragged this team back into the fight. I think he was the only Leaf that played 60 minutes. He was fantastic, but he's my 3rd star, Bobby McMahon.
The unfortunate reality is one of Nylander and Bobby McMahon are going to be left off of this list. And I'm also going to go with Bobby McMahon at number 3 with an honorable mention to William Nylander. Phenomenal game for him. And shout out to Nylander as well. Great game. But I love what I'm seeing from Bobby McMahon, and he needed to get in there for me tonight. So I'll take him at number 3.
Yeah. Number 2 for me is going to be Joseph Woll. Unbelievable saves tonight. I thought he was unreal. Again, making me look stupid, calling him a technical goalie and that he never, is free flowing or anything like that. Thought he had a great game. He looked locked in. Again, he didn't start great. First couple goals. I wouldn't even pin all 3 of them on him. Didn't start great. Go ahead.
Paulie, I figured it was you because I seen you in chat with Paulie. I put 2 and 2 together, but I wasn't 100% sure. That's why I double confirmed that it was Papa Paulie as Eric comes in with the 69.99. Good job, boys. Hit that like button. We hit 100. One of the probably the craziest stream. 100%. The craziest 100%. Stream all year. Yep. I mean, Eric, that's thank you. That's huge. Thank you very, very much for that. Your support's, incredible. I don't know. Thank you. And your Collins as well. Fantastic. And I love talking the trades. You're going to be one of the – I'm excited to have all you guys calling in.
Trade deadline is going to be crazy. Going to be crazy.
And even during the Cup and then All-Star break, we can just have some trade specials because that's probably all there is. Too much to talk about. Here's some injuries as well. Eric, thank you again. Any other message you have for us, we can definitely answer. And yeah, Paulie, I put two and two together there towards the end. But my second star, so we finish it up. The second star that is Eric again. I mean, $69.99. Thank you. Is I lost my train of thought. Is OEL. OEL is the second star of the night for me. Fantastic game. Was the best player on the ice. Besides my first star, who was Joseph Wall, who had one of the better games I've ever seen of a goaltender in a Toronto Maple Leafs uniform in a very long time. Despite giving up 3 goals, the game could have legitimately been, if this was Ilya Samsonov, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like an 8-7 game. It was because there was that many high pressure saves. Eric is actually the first star now. I'm also going to put Eric in there as the first star of the night for his continued support. But everybody, the Leafs Digest chat, the community here, all you guys, we'll give you guys. I'm going to give you guys the first star because what a community that is building here. It's great to see.
I will say, listen, for the 3 stars, I can't give the Leafs Digest community the 3 stars because they're not a player. But I will give them an honorable mention. You guys are unbelievable. The support has been unbelievable. I love the call-ins. Everyone's been awesome. I cannot wait till it's closer to the trade deadline when we get everyone in. I want to hear everyone's opinions about who the Leafs are going to get or potentially get. It's going to be crazy. So you guys have been unbelievable. My first star of tonight, it might be the only time I ever give him a first star this season. Oliver Ekman-Larsson was unbelievable tonight. 2 crazy plays to set up Nick Robertson and Steven Lorentz. Scores that goal doing exactly what we've been saying they need to do more of on the power play. And again, I thought he was skating. He was beaking at some of the Montreal Canadiens. He was crazy tonight. This is what he did tonight is why they got him. And I wish he did it over the course of the entire season, but he did it all tonight. And I thought he was great. So this might be the only time I give him the first star this season. So I had to give it to him. So he was fantastic. Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Thank you again. I've seen Eric, for your support. 106 likes. Yeah, it's incredible. I saw someone in here. Been here a long time. Dr. Curious, I see your name. I've been seeing you in the chat for a while. Thank you for your continued support as well. Everybody in here, your support is, whether you donate, support us that way, watching, support us that way. You guys have been the best, whether you're donating or not. And it means a lot to Darius and I. And also, Eric, again, I'm going to keep thanking you because that's very generous. And the Collins as well were amazing tonight. Probably the best night we've had for Collins as well. We had 4 different people call in: Jose, Shane, Jim, and Eric. Or Jose, Jim, Eric, and Paul. Papa Paulie, also known as Paulie. So we're gonna go with Paulie, I guess, or Papa Paulie. Either way, it is a great community, and 20 new members. So now you guys have a bunch of new emails. We'll continue to work on those. But it was a great one. And let's not forget, they play again on Monday. So we have one day if you're a football fan. You watch football tomorrow. You get to relax a little bit. There'll probably be some, there's JT Miller talks flying like crazy, supposedly going to the Rangers. That got nixed. Don't know what's going on in that front. Things are going crazy. You're the kind of people I like to have a beer with. Right back at all you guys as well. It was
absolutely.
I don't know what I'm doing. Freezing cold. Any thoughts, Darius? It was the crazy. Hour and a half. It's the longest post game we've had. And I have a feeling these are going to be the streams to come. As the season continues to roll on into the playoffs with all the, Collins, the support, and just the Leafs playing good hockey. Yep. As Paulie, the support continues. Paulie comes in with the 5 gifted memberships for Mackenzie, Morenzi, Edward, Crunchy, Crankbait, and Gator. Crankbait and Crunchy.
Crankbait.
Yeah, Crankbait finally got one as well. A couple longtime supporters as well. Paulie, thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you again for your calling as well. Loved the energy and everyone who got it. Thank you. Thank Paulie as well. And man, oh man, I know sometimes, if they tune into the stream earlier, I think it can still possibly gift them whether they're in here now or not. So if they don't thank you, it's probably because they're either have the tab open or tab closed. Either way. Thank you so much, Paulie. Very much appreciate it. Even if they aren't in the stream, I know a lot of these people will definitely appreciate it. Crankbait and Crunchy. I've seen them around a lot.
Definitely. A couple names are finally getting them after
a lot tonight, actually. A lot of regulars got one tonight. It's all starting to come full circle, I think.
Yeah. And we appreciate the donations, right? Like the support has been unbelievable on the channel. But those of you who are also gifting members to other
That as
people
well.
so they can become members, like thank you. So you're spreading the wealth. That is awesome. Love to see that. And you guys have access to all the emojis as well. I'm gonna try and get, I've been talking about it for a little while, but we're gonna get something going, especially for playoffs. A little a community chat going on, whether it's on Facebook or another.
There will be a members
source.
only chat soon, which it's gonna. We have to figure out the logistics of it because obviously, those things they're gonna have to be. We're gonna find a way to do it so it's easy for you all, and then having to figure out because some gifted membership expire after the month. Figure out the actual logistics for how it works. But either way, especially as the playoffs come, there'll definitely be some sort of chat where you guys can interact with us more directly. Through the
and
chat.
each other,
and of course, and each other. As well as the community continues to grow there. But man, I mean, it's as fired up as I've been at 1 a.m. on a Saturday for a Leafs game this year. I'll say.
That's right. Let's get some Go Leafs goes in the chat because the Leafs played a great game. They're rolling again. I think, again, this is closer to what they actually are this season, which I think is so exciting heading into the playoffs. And the playoffs are coming faster than we all think. The trade deadline's coming faster than we think. Once we hit the Four Nations Cup, we're going to hit the ground rolling. There's going to be trades. We're going to see how the Leafs shape up heading into the playoffs, and that's what it's about. I'm excited for the playoffs this year to see what they do.
And let's not forget, video for you all tomorrow. And doesn't that intro video just hit a little bit harder? Like for tonight's game, that intro video, that's what it's made for. These hyped up big wins like that. And as always, we'll have a video for you all tomorrow. Maybe a couple, depending on how news is dropping. Things are on like crazy here. And this is the place to be for Leafs content, daily Leafs content. Your guys' support's unbelievable. Community's getting bigger. And with that, the support is unbelievable. It means the world to myself and Darius. What's up, Nevster? Chevster, another long-time viewer. What's up, Nev? All right. Have a fantastic evening. Nev, everybody in here. Gregory as well. Finally got his gifted membership. Polly, couple new Collins. Jose and Polly had 2 new Collins tonight. Hopefully you guys, turn into regulars, whether it be in, calling in if you liked that. And either way, just being in the chat means the world. But I'll leave you with our outro. But one more thing I'm going to predict. Let's predict our scores for Monday's game against the Lightning. 4-5-6. No, I'm just kidding. 5-1 for the Leafs. Going to be an absolute masterclass. And Darius, get your notepad out really quickly. Write this down somewhere. Jim said, will there be a playoff intro? The answer, because you just said it, is yes. And I'm assigning Darius that task. So thank you, Jim. Darius will make a playoff intro because
it's in the works. I wouldn't say it's in the works, but it's in my head.
It will be now.
So
there will be some stuff for the playoffs. There will be stuff for the playoffs. Don't you worry about that. But
a fresh look for the playoffs. Don't worry. There's going to be some new presentation. So
score prediction. 5-1.
Score prediction. I'm going to go. They've had Tampa's number, so I'm going to say 5-3.
I think it's going to be dominant. I think they're going to come out and they're going to absolutely crush it. I think they're going on a huge run here after that 3-game losing streak. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic evening. Enjoy your Saturday. Stay safe out there. And most importantly, your guys' support has been unbelievable. Most importantly, stay safe. But of course, your guys' support has been unbelievable. And I'm finding the outro right now. So thank you guys for watching. And Darius, it was a crazy one. Thank you all in chat. And we will see you all in tomorrow's video.
Digest your daily dose of gold. Stories of the bold where legends are told. From first pop drop to the season's fall. Tune in and watch the drama unfold.